head coach of Trinidad and Tobago, Dwight Yorke. First question for Coach Yorke by show of hands, and use the microphone, please.
Dwight, good night. Coach, good night. Can you share your thoughts on the overall performance of the game tonight and where you think we could have done better just from the initial look of the game?
Listen, it does feel like a defeat to us, but I can tell you, yeah, we are disappointed with the results, but I can't tell you how proud I am about these players, what they've given over the past year since I've taken this job. It's hard to think that we are not where we want to be because of the point system, but in terms of performance-wise, these players given everything, and I couldn't tell you how proud I am. I think when you look overall, and the stats actually suggest the dominance that we have: 62%, 17 chances on goal, 3 big chances today, 1 opportunity on goal. Those numbers, 42, 362 passes today, 251. So we looked at the stats, and of course, stats doesn't win you football matches, and it's just a fine line. We haven't been able to close the games off. But in terms of football, I'm sure anyone who watched Trinidad and Tobago play football, certainly from the time I've taken the job to where we are, it's you got to be proud of these guys. They left everything out there. They're giving everything, and the fans, the people of Trinidad and Tobago come out in their numbers to support the team. And we just came up a little bit short, but nevertheless, I'm over the moon by the team performance and what we've been able to do to this point.
Yeah, next question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, listen, the mood is obviously low because we really felt that we done enough to win the game again, and I think, again, if you look at the stats, suggest all of that. So it does feel like a defeat, although we haven't lost the game, but we seem like a common theme. Played Curacao, it's a similar feeling. We played Jamaica even when they beat us. We felt like we gifted them the goals, but I don't want to look too much on the negative. It is where we are, but I certainly believe in these players, and I think that if you're fair to these young boys, which most of them are, from where we were to where we are now, it's incredible. And I know that a lot of people will look at the results or not being able to qualify, certainly now, that there will be a huge disappointment in that sense. But our football has been on the low for a while, and now we're on the uptick, and we've become a team that the likes of Jamaica and other teams who are coming here know that they're in for a really tough game and a really hard time, and tonight was another indication of that.
Next.
Coach, when you first took the job in November of last year, team members set the statement, World Cup on the team. So obviously after the game, team members in the public will be asking questions about your role. One, how do you respond to that, knowing that people will question your role? And 2, would you like to continue building what you started as head coach of the team?
Yeah, I think, listen, I don't really listen to the outside world. I've got the experience enough now, and there was always going to be some people who like what we're doing and some don't. That's out of my control. I have no control over that. What I can control, what is in front of me. My contract runs for another 6 months, I think it is. And I'm happy to see those 6 months out if required. It's out of my control. There people above my pay grade make those decisions, and again, I've got no control over that. But again, the year that I've been in the job, I think if you fear to say that we have made a hell of a stride and real positive. We have lost one game in this campaign and simply not enough wins or W's. We have an unbeaten record at home, and so that's something that there's a lot of positive in there. And so, yeah, going back to your question, there are people always gonna like what you do, and some people don't. I'm not really fussed by that. I'm only focused on the job in hand, and I'm sure if conversation for me to carry on, then I'm sure I'll sit down and listen to what we've been trying to build here. But for now, I won't think about that. We got Bermuda to come, and we got to make sure and finish on a high. And I think that's where our focus will remain. But I'm not here thinking about or concerned about my position as the head coach of Trinidad and Tobago national team.
Go ahead.
Yeah, possibly essentially. Coach, well, press conference, you seem hurt by this result. I sure some of the players in the podcast sure they should be seen. How do you motivate them when the campaign is over, the dream is done, to come out and play on Tuesday?
Yeah, we hurt him. There's no two ways about that. We hurt him because we have given everything. We dominate Jamaica in every sense. You know, the stats doesn't lie. I'm sure you're looking back, it's just a fine line. And so when you play the way we played and give what we have given throughout this campaign, particularly tonight, I think this is probably our best performance. Jamaica had one shot on target and been able to score. We had 17 to their 6. 62% dominance, 362 to their 251. Possession base, we are dominating them in every aspect of the game. Unfortunately, stats doesn't win you game, and when you play the way we have played, with the energy, the passion, and control throughout the game, we have a strategy in terms in place if we went behind what we did, and to see how we revert and the players are taking on board what we're doing. We score from the strategy of going to 3 in the back and pushing the 2 fullbacks on, to then bring the wingers into the sort of attacking, more advanced position. When you see those plans are working and creating and scoring from it, as a coach, you take a lot of pride from that. But yes, it's still not what we wanted. It's been that sort of a campaign for us where we dominate in teams, but somehow coming up a little bit short. But it's very encouraging. As a coach, you got to be very happy. And yeah, it felt like a defeat. It felt like a dig in the stomach, so to speak. And so it's not really easy to swallow that when you know you dominate a team like Jamaica. So yeah, of course we are hurting. The mood is that we got to dust ourselves down. That's the nature of sport. Sometimes you don't get results what you deserve in the game, and tonight was an indication of that. However, we got another game on Tuesday. We evaluate the game. We'll talk about it. We certainly have a couple more days to prepare. And the players will, it'll be up for Bermuda because we want to finish the campaign and I continue that unbeaten run at home. So as I said, there was a lot of positive there, and hey, football have a way that sometimes it's not really fair. And we felt that this campaign has not really been fair to us.
Coach, commiserations, seeing that it is what it is. We are out of the World Cup 2026 in qualification. Moving forward, what recommendations would you make to the TTFE to perhaps improve or increase our chances in future campaigns?
Yeah, listen, I think the conversation has to take place going forward. I'm sure they will look at where we are from when I take the job to where we are now. And if they have, I'm sure they have aspiration of improving the whole environment, which is something we have been able to do. I think corporate Trinidad, the government, all these sectors, these private sectors have played a part in supporting the team. And I think you don't have to wait for a World Cup campaign before all the support. And and everything else to be put in place. You know, you gotta build. It's a process. You gotta build to get to where you want to be. And so, yeah, the World Cup campaign, when I take it, was a 1-year deal to try and get everything done. You know, in terms of recruitment, the the Grandparent Act, all these things comes into play, which then gives us a better pool of players eventually going forward. So you can only see this squad of players, which are relatively young enough, will only improve. So, as I said, the discussion is not for me so much. It's for the hierarchy, the people up there, to make those decisions. I'm open to all options on the table. And if they see the future of this club, the future of this team going forward, as well as me being the head coach going forward, it's something, a conversation I'm happy to and open to have. But, you know, where we are is we are still building and improving, and I'm sure sometimes it doesn't happen over a period of 12 months. It might take 2 years before you get to the level you.
The team, or do you think we still have a long way to go before we catch up with some of the other countries and see who are ahead of us?
Yeah, I think we have made important stride here, and I think if you fear to say that it takes some time to get to the level that we want to get to. And it's very encouraging what people see here. For me, as I said, it will take some time for us to get to the level. It's just the way how the nature works. But unfortunately, results keep you in the job. You got to make sure and get results along the way. But I think everyone could see that this Trinidad and Tobago team is it's a very good team. It's a very good team, and I'm so proud to be the coach of these young boys that will continue to grow. And I think the future is really bright for Trinidad and Tobago football.
Coach, I thought this described you as right behind Jamaica, but where did Jamaica lost into the game, and what Jamaica's performance did you over your team tonight?
I tell you, when I taken the job, I didn't. Obviously, Jamaica's ranking is so more superior than us, and I felt that if we were to qualify for the World Cup, then we had to have a benchmark around Jamaica. And the meetings that we have played Jamaica, the games have been extremely close. We never feel like we've been outplayed by Jamaica once. And so when you've seen these things, it's very encouraging because you expect Jamaica to have that superiority ahead of us. I felt in the period of time of the games that we played Jamaica now, I feel we have closed the gap immensely. And so where Jamaica football is and where Trinidad and Tobago football, I don't think there is much difference. I think what Jamaica has been able, where Jamaica football is right now and where Trinidad and Tobago football, I don't think there is much difference between the teams. I think that Jamaica has been, the experience has been able, maybe they've experienced a little bit more in terms of that, in terms of getting the results and taking the opportunity when it comes. And so, yeah, the gap is close. The gap is not what I thought it would be a year ago to where we are. And the evidence suggests that tonight clearly. And you know, I know people might think otherwise, but you just have to look at the numbers. And I do say to everybody to look at the numbers. I think Jamaica would say they're fortunate to come away with a point again tonight.
Okay, we have time for a couple more questions here. Go ahead.
Coach, I have one question to ask you. The reason asking you was Coach Dwight Yorke, right? But you was a Trinidad and Tobago national former captain of this team. What does it feel to you after the results, after the campaign? Tell us your emotions right now, your thoughts, if you can.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm obviously disappointed in the results because I felt that we done enough to win the game. We have created much more opportunity than Jamaica. We dominate them in every aspect. And so when you have a strategy in place and you play the way you want to play with the desire and you see the players are following the instruction that we ask them to do and actually seeing it implemented in the game. So you got to be proud of that. Proud of these players. I can't tell you how much effort they have put in and deserve more out of the game. So for me, really, it's about reflection now. It's not much more you can say about it, apart from the opportunity to manage the national team outside of playing the game. It's, if not probably one of the most proudest moments of my career, and to to be in these circumstances with the team going into battle. I wouldn't want any other team in the world, if I'm honest with you. And as I said, I'm excited for the future of Trinidad and Tobago football.
Coach, you spoke about reflection, looking back at the campaign. Do you have any regrets, particularly the two draws against Curacao? And your opinion, is there anything that you do to that you could have done better? Whether the player selection, players into formation, and take any regrets?
You know, as a manager, you look at yourself first before you point the finger at anyone else. And I do look at myself, and because it starts with me in my leadership, and I'm sure along the line I've not got everything right. I'm certainly not perfect, and I'm happy to say that. Do I reflect on the negative? Maybe there are some decision that I probably could have made. But overall, you look at the two Curacao game, we dominate them again, pretty much similar to Jamaica tonight. We dominate Curacao, and you know, when you listen to someone like Dick Abercott in the two games that we played him and having conversation with him afterwards, his reflection to Trinidad and Tobago team, he's taken the 2 points and run, and that tells you where we are, and I mean that genuinely, and that's the conversation I had with him. It's the best 2 points that they have in the tournament, and it's not for lack of the way we play and the selection you've seen. We dominate these teams. It's just that cutting edge, and ultimately you're going to be judged on if you take your opportunities. And we haven't been able to convert in crucial stages of the game, and that's the reality of it. We improve in those areas. We continue to build. We continue to look at these young players and encourage them. They will grow from these disappointment, but certainly turn them into much better players. And you got to remember the low period as well as celebrate the high period. And there was lots of highs in this campaign. The last 3 games we haven't lost a game. We lose 1 game in this campaign, and the draws against Curacao maybe have cost us. But there is so much positive in there as well.
Coach, a number of strikers since you've taken the team for you, a number of strikers have been trying number 9 goal. Might see the conference just who on the chart tonight, of course, like I said, on the stats as number 9. But we have scored 5 goals in 5 games, that's 5 this 5 roll. I think that's a reflection of the quality of number 9 after those goals on.
Yeah, listen, number 9s in the world, just in Trinidad, has become a rare thing. That's something that you used to find quite a lot. You look in the Premier League, there is not too many fantastic number 9s like it used to be. So it is the dynamics of the game has changed where number 9 is concerned. We have looked at that position, and Levi is the best. I think Levi was outstanding. I think he's been outstanding throughout the campaign. He really has. He led the team. With Molino not being there, at times he's the one that really taken on the battle. And I think ultimately as a striker, you're always going to be judging goals, and that's an area that we lacked in, and hence that's why we have drawn so many games for not taking the opportunity. But yeah, and 9 is something that we looked at. I think Levi has done extremely well, and that's an area that I continue to try and use him. But until we find somebody that is really suitable. The young Mitchell boy is a new additional to the number 9 position. We continue to look in those areas. It's an area that it's a dying breed in the world of football. You know, there's not too many great number 9s out there. There's only probably a handful of them. And so it's an area that we try to improve. But we overall, in terms of the style of play and our philosophy and the structure and the balance of the team is really good. It's just that final turn, that's that little turn. And I feel like we haven't got, the football gods on our side this time round. We needed a little bit luck here or there, the little ricochet, the shots on target, straight to the goal. Those little moments, makes a difference, and I think that we've been unlucky in those departments. But overall, as I said, we are excellent. We really were. And again, I encourage people to look at the numbers, but they will say numbers doesn't win you games. And although we haven't lost the game, it feels like a defeat. And that's where Trinidad and Tobago football is at the moment. And that's something that wasn't there 12 months ago.
Coach, congratulations on the result. I don't know if I could just take you back to the starting lineup. Would you
No, listen, we view the games. We know what Molino brings to the table. There's no question about that. We felt that Jamaica wasn't really going to come and have a go at us. We felt that with our analysts that Jamaica was always looking to try and get a point to eliminate us out of the competition and take their chances at home in the last game. It's a game that they definitely didn't want to lose, and they played that way. They played the real, not the Jamaican way that you would think Jamaica plays a certain type of way. They were dropping off, and so we felt to be aggressive against them in midfield. They're a physical team. That's one of their threat, as well as the two white players who are a threat to them. So we thought we go physical in there to make sure, and especially over the first 45 to 60 minutes, and try and rattle them. And we did. We dominate them first half. You look at that game first half, they were hanging on and they were playing for time and breaking the game up. And, I'm a bit surprised by that, but, that's just to show our strategy and our planning was spot on. And then, of course, because we know we had to win the game, there was strategy after 30, 60 minutes. We were going to go with three at the back, with two fullbacks pushing on, taking those wingers and put them in to create that numbers, with Molino coming in with the last 30 minutes. So when you see your game plan is working like we have worked, and then score from it with Molino coming on, it was, you got to say that's well thought out, right? But ultimately, we just haven't got that final goal and the opportunities to score. We had three big chances in the game, and we didn't take any of that, which again seems to be the theme. But overall, yeah, listen, I'm sure there were going to be critics out there that's going to say that you could have gone with Molino a bit earlier and stuff, but I'm the coach. I make the decision, and as I said, we had a game plan, and I think we executed the plan incredible. And unfortunately, we didn't get the result. But everything else that we put into our thoughts in practice worked. It really worked. And again, Jamaica only had one shot on target and scored from it.
All right, we have a final question. Go ahead.
Coach, I know you fulfilled the dream of carrying Super Warriors to the World Cup as a player. Do you still want to fulfill that dream as a coach?
Listen, I made it very clear. This is one of the proudest moments when the job was handed to me after the conversation with the president. The indication was clear within the 12 months to try and get us to the World Cup. And yeah, listen, it's disappointing, I have to say, but I only have another 6 months or so on the contract. Again, we will talk to see if they want me to carry on, but I'm very happy with where we are as a team, as a country in terms of the football. And I'm sure we'll be disappointed that we're not in a position to qualify for the World Cup. But the work begins now, maybe, whatever I built, whatever the outcome is, Trinidad and Tobago football is in a good place, and I would think that they can certainly improve on that. Whether I'm the person to take them forward or not, that's out of my control. That's in the hands of the hierarchy, as we say. But for me, I carry on the job. I want to complete the job, certainly with a victory against Bermuda come Tuesday. And I'm sure if there's a conversation to have, I'm open to the conversation. But we'll have to wait until those situation things. But yeah, as I said, I couldn't be any prouder to be the head coach and proud to lead these players like I've led them to this point.